Good morning. Good morning. We got the double broadcast going. I'm Laura Jane, also known as LJ. Just don't call me Laura. Hello. And I'm back with day 5 of this really exciting series that I'm allowing through from my real passion about this topic. And I feel like more than ever, the world is really ready for looking at mental health, what we can do to take care of it, what we can even do to shift it, to boost it, to lift it, and bringing that down to mood even, and how important mood is, and sharing with you what I've learned over the years and really currently and still learning about how the simplest forms of yoga and meditation can be the perfect tools, the perfect therapy, in my opinion, really. So I'm so happy to have you here with me. And I love that you can catch this as a recording if it doesn't work for you to be here live. So welcome. And if you haven't caught the other days, then I am putting them all on a YouTube playlist that you can find in, if you're watching this on Instagram, it's in my bio page. The link there, the YouTube link, is a link to the playlist that I'm putting together of each day, as well as some other resources that I want to offer you that I love in approaching mood, mind, and mental health. And then on Facebook and our It's the Yoga group, I'll go ahead and post that at the top of the group so you can find it and catch up and catch the days as you want to. Because what I've been doing is each day bringing another tool, as I see it, from these worlds, these schools of thought, these philosophies, these psychologies, and yes, sets of practices that we get from yoga and meditation. Yoga, remember, one of my biggest missions in life is to really help us all remember that yoga really just means union, to join, to connect. So then you start to see that really anything that we do that reconnects us, we can call part of our yoga. And meditation also, super broad, vast word and world. But at its simplest, most basic, it's about our presence, our awareness, our attention, our inner experience, and even playing with our inner technologies for how we can, like we're doing in this program, look at how we can shift and even lift how we're doing, how we're feeling, how we're functioning, and even rewire things like our brains, like our emotional patterns, like our responses to life. And especially, maybe one of the most powerful things we're getting to do is rewire our relationship with ourselves, right? And our understanding of how we are connected in so many ways to all of it. And one of our first day's tools was about that it's all energy, and that's another thing that we get to bring in with a yoga meditation approach, especially with looking at things like mood, mind, and mental health. We often forget that those things too are all energy and all indicators of vibration. And we also have gotten into, in some of our days, about how feelings are actually so important and can be such a source of guidance as to our alignment and to what we are focusing on, what we are imagining, where we are putting our attention, how we are tuning ourselves or not tuning ourselves. So we're learning to embrace our feelings in this series. We're making it all about connection as the therapy. We're approaching it all as energy, which is one of the most powerful and empowering parts, in my opinion. And that we also just know it's a lot and maybe all about that inner approach that we're getting into more and more with ourselves. It's about more about self-love, more about non-judgment, and that at the foundation of all of these practices, perspective psychology is going to be one of the biggest ways we can shift and lift things like our mood, our mind, and our mental health. Yes. So today's tool is even more of a practice tool. I got a sense that you were ready for a little more practice and not just the intellectualizing, right? Or the theorizing. But that's been important for me to bring through, because that's so much of what we get from yoga and meditation is the philosophies, the psychology, the perspectives that we get to reconnect with as part of those ways of taking care of ourselves, part of a lifestyle that's more about connection. So today's tool had to start now talking more about breath. And we've used breath a little each day already, because breath is totally related to the things we've already been talking about. The first day we talked about what did we talk about on the first day? Presence. And how that's one of the most powerful, playful things we get to use and get into with yoga and meditation. So breath is an amazing way to develop presence, right? Anytime we just become aware of the fact that we are breathing, much less change our breath, it really turns up the volume on that presence and really gives us a place to focus the attention and the awareness and become more of that observer, which was day one, right? And then day two, about it's all energy. This is one of the amazing parts with breath too, that breath is a huge form of energy medicine that we get to do to ourselves, for ourselves, that was built in. And first of all, what we're going to talk about today is that a lot of us aren't breathing very fully, very completely, very efficiently throughout the day. So that's part of what we get to shift and retrain through our dropping in with these practices, is more of a little crookedness in the hat. More of a healthy therapeutic breath, like getting back to being able to breathe more fully, more completely, in a way that's really healthful and helpful for our physiology, which does affect our mental health and mood, right? So just learning and remembering and practicing breathing more fully, more completely throughout our days, and we'll do some of that today. And then there's thousands of breath practices in the worlds of yoga and meditation that are from anywhere from the simplest 1-minute things to like 15 minutes of breath exercises, probably more. There's an unending array of breath practices out there, because breath is so hugely powerful, such a tool of energy medicine, such a way that we can bring in that fresh energy, that fresh oxygen, such a way like we did yesterday with embracing our feelings and looking at feelings and even breathing into feelings and freeing up feelings and helping our feelings even shift and move out with the use of breath, right? So that's another huge tool, which we'll play with a little today. And then there's all sorts of like complex breath practices, and we'll do a couple that are even a little more interesting and maybe you have or haven't tried before, but they are simple enough that you can use them on your own, which, as you know, is my thing. I'm all about giving you tools you can start using right away with yourself, so that you don't need me or anyone else to tune you, right? So today we're going to play with breath in all of those ways, just getting back to breath as a tool of presence, breath as a way to reconnect, breath as a way to manage our energy, shift our energy, change our energy. So much cool work with the breath. And then also that it's a way to, like we're talking about with shifting the energy, to transmute and even transcend. I like that word, because it is about shifting in the vibration, which you could see as part of the lifting that we're doing, even letting ourselves get to a higher frequency or a faster flow of energy, which has all sorts of cool correlations that go with shifting our vibe like that, if you want to play with that, and even more of a spiritual vibe also that we can get into with use of breath. So let's do some of that in our time together, actually practicing playing with breath as such a tool to help, right? In all the ways, and help us just to tune in to how we actually are doing, as a way to bring us more present and just listening with ourselves, right? For that important part of the reconnecting, and then bringing us into the moment, which is so helpful and healing. But also that we can use it as a chance to retrain how we are breathing, get back to a more healthful, helpful breath with some of the ways we'll do that. And then we'll play with a couple actual exercises that will shift and change things even more for body, mind, and spiritually affecting us as well. So really awesome. These are all breath ideas that I put into my book, my latest yoga book, which is called Feel Better Now. And I was thinking if anybody's interested, I would be happy to send you a free ebook copy of the book because it does have these breath practices in there. So if you watch this and you'd like a copy of that, then put a comment below or message me, and I'll be happy to email you a copy of my book, the Feel Better Now book, which does have a whole section on breath and includes these breath practices we're going to do today. If you want to start to add those in and even get more out of what I put into that book, which is really like what I think yoga is and how we can use it in a really simple, everyday, therapeutic way to feel better. So let me know if you'd like a copy of that. But let's do this, okay? So let's let ourselves get more comfortable. If you're ready to drop in for a little practice time with me, wherever you're at, shift around, get in a position that feels good and more aligned. Generally with the posture is going to be better for energy flow. Any comfortable way you can do that. And you could be laying down too if you want, because it is important that we're comfortable. And then let's do what we can to relax a little bit more into where we're at as part of the shift, right? So let's soften that face and jaw. Such a great tool we've been using each day that, remember, is going to help your nervous system shift towards calm. And then just inviting the rest of the body to soften and relax. Just experiment with what you can relax and soften. And so that's kind of nice to start, right? And then, of course, we start to bring in our attention more, get into more of a listening mode, feeling mode, become even more in an observer mode, bring in that non-judgment as you start to just notice now before we change anything. This is always how I feel like it's important to start a practice, getting into the moment and then getting into like, how am I doing as I get started today? Looking, feeling, noticing with your love and non-judgment, right? How's the body doing? What's the energy feeling like in your body? Checking out even like mood, emotions, feelings, what seems to be true at this moment. And yes, just starting to become also more of a listener with that mind, and even becoming more aware of what sorts of thoughts are rolling through this morning with that non-judgment, right? So we get to become more of the listener, more of the feeler, turning up that presence in our more relaxed mode, right? And then, yeah, just noticing how we are feeling, if there are sensations, if there is a sense of like contracted places that feel a little tight or tense, starting to remember how it's all energy, and that's how we get to kind of play with it, right? And then remember, what's beautiful is we're going to be creating some quieting of the mind with all this too, which is really reconnecting and refreshing. So just letting the practice as we're doing it, my voice, the sensations, your focus, your attention, be a way that's starting to quiet your mind. And then also playing with how you can literally quiet it for a few seconds, like that windshield wipe idea that I love to share from Eric Shipman, or all sorts of ways you can quiet for seconds. Just that listening does it. The feeling, even maybe bringing to mind image of a clear sky, right? So we do some of that. Okay, now let's just start to check out how we are breathing before we change anything. And of course, a lot of schools and practices just invite us to just notice the breath as a huge centering practice, right? So see what it's like to just be more with your breath, how it is right now, and letting that bring you more present, more in your body, more in the moment. And then just start to notice like how you are breathing, what parts are moving, what parts aren't. And then the ways I like to change the breath, that in my learning and studies and practices, I feel like is like what we're getting back to, the way we were born breathing, the way babies breathe, and just a lot of us adults aren't so much, because we get to where we're holding tension, for instance, in the belly. So what we do want to do now is let the breath get back more in the belly and really be willing to soften and relax that belly to let that happen. So see if you could just start to do that. And you might put a hand on your belly as part of that awareness and attention. And then the invitation is just to start to breathe more slowly, more fully, in through your nose if you can today, but into your belly. Start to create a more belly-shaped breath so that the belly's where the breath starts and you're filling it up more like a soft balloon. And then exhaling out of your mouth or nose. Feel how the belly lowers. And we really want to lengthen that exhale. Let it be longer, more complete. A lot of us are short changing the exhale, it turns out. And that's part of often our anxiety feelings. So we're just developing this slower, longer belly-shaped breath for ourselves, which is going to be bringing in so much more oxygen, so much more energy into all our cells, and really helpful and better for the heart as we do that more in the belly. And then the longer, slower exhale, just as important. And you start to tune into how that's what relaxes us. That's what helps us let go of stuff and makes room for that next new breath, right? So just that. And then we start to see that anytime we're practicing the poses or anything, we can just get back into like, oh yeah, how's my belly breath going? Could I be breathing more into my belly, more slowly, more fully, longer, slower? And could I be a lot slower and longer with those exhales? Kind of like they're decompressing us. And just starting to become aware of the energy work you're doing here. Amazing, right? And then, of course, you can add imagination and even just start to imagine and feel and be aware and think about how you're bringing in that fresh energy, that fresh oxygen. The more you see that and feel that going into all your cells, makes it work better. And then seeing and feeling how the exhales, like house cleaning for the body, clearing you out, helping you let stuff go, relaxing you more and more. So cool, right? And that's where we did, like yesterday, where we could start to notice now if there are places that feel some tension, some tightness, whether it's mood or just feels physical or whatever, that we can start to play with now, breathing more into those places, maybe even putting a hand on that part of the body like we did yesterday. As part of the feeling it, the allowing it, the getting into being present with it, but then also playing with what you can breathe into and start to transmute, right? And shift and free up and clear out. And remember, it's all energy. So we're getting to address it all as energy. And adding that imagination just makes it that much more powerful. That's that placebo effect, as part of it. And also just knowing and believing that it's having that effect. It makes it work better. Okay, so now let's do a few breath tricks in our last 4 or 5 minutes together. So we've got one where we can balance out the breath more. This is in my book. I always like to share this one. And you can do all of these anytime, anywhere. I love that. So, our Instagram paused. Okay, Instagram's back. So we're doing the 4-4 breath for about a minute. Let's try that. You count in your mind with your breath. And you always want to be easy and gentle with the breath practices because they are powerful. So take it gently, easily. Try staying relaxed, relaxing. Great. So this one you're going to internally count to 4 as you inhale. Hold that breath gently for 4 counts. Exhale to the count of 4. And gently hold at the end of the exhale for 4 counts. And try that again at your own easy pace. And you could do these with your eyes opened or closed, of course. How about one more round? You can start to see how this is really a form of meditation, right? Bringing us into the moment. Also, the yogis would say this is balancing out the nervous system. Great. So that's the 4-4 breath is one of the ways that you can just start to balance yourself out, shift your physiology, do some lifting and shifting, right? Okay, so now let's do 2 more that are a little more high tech. This next one is called the alternate nostril breath. And I've made these really simple and California style even because the mudra we're going to use is California style hang loose mudra, okay? So we're going to use this mudra and we're going to do a little nostril blocking. And this one is really powerful. It's said to reconnect left and right hemispheres of the brain, really refresh our physiology, balances us, centers us. Amazing. And so you can just start to imagine how this can be another helpful tool in how yoga meditation can help, right, with mood, mind, and mental health. So we're going to gently block the right nostril. You always want to start and end on the left. And now this is one we could do for 1 minute, 2, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. We're going to do just 1 minute. And you want to stay relaxed about it. So you're going to take a slow, gentle inhale through your left nostril right into that belly. And then block the left with your pinky. Exhale right. Inhale right side again. Block the right. Exhale left. Stay relaxed about it. Inhale left. Block the left. Exhale right. Slow and long with that breath. Inhale right side. Block the right. Exhale left. Great. And let's just drop the hand. Take a big breath through both nostrils. Exhale it all out. Let that one settle in. With some of the transmuting it's done for us, the transcending, right? And you can see it's a lot about focus, attention, awareness, much less how we're shifting the energy with that breath, right? So that's the alternate nostril breath in its simplest California style form. And then let's do one more. And I actually learned this one when I was getting myself ready to teach kids, because I do get to work with kids and families as part of my work. I'm so lucky. I love